everybody. Happy Sunday to everybody watching. I am really happy to see you all today. It's been quite a week. A couple of things. I actually just want to do a little bit of business for a minute. So the channel, I used to talk about it quite a bit. I don't as much. I usually put on the community page, but this channel gives, because of the subscriptions, and I'm able to monetize the channel. I take the money from the monetization, and we have monthly charities that we give to as a channel. And I did give a recent donation on behalf of the channel to the Red Cross Southern California chapter and to World Animal Protection. They're working with a bunch of different shelters and stuff in the area. So they kind of listed all the shelters they're working with, and I just thought it would be a good way to just kind of, and they can decide where it goes. But it's something that I feel strongly about. I want to always be thinking about that energy exchange and giving back and all of those things. But the reason I bring this up, and then the monthly we give to a bunch. We give to a donkey sanctuary. We give to Sandy Hook Promise. We give to the SPCA, Planned Parenthood. There's a couple others I can't remember right now. I think one Sierra Club, but we give to a bunch. And the other reason I did this is because I realized that not everybody has money to give, and they want to. So if you want to be part of that, all you need to do is subscribe, and you're part of it. And so you can kind of check that off your list. If it's something that you feel badly about or you can't do or whatever, please do that, okay? And the other thing I want to tell you is that we have a member of our channel. She's been in our community for a really long time. Her name's Isis. I put her on the community page because we were praying for her. She was displaced and had to evacuate with her kitties. So it's just her and her kitties. And we prayed that her home would be standing. Her bungalow is still standing, but she is going to be displaced for a week. And I know that she's worried, very worried about how to stay I think she's in a hotel right now for a week. She doesn't, people didn't plan for this, and people, living paycheck to paycheck or disability check to disability check or whatever, they did not plan for this. So does not have the funds to, or is worried about the funds to stay in a hotel for a week. So if you're interested in helping Isis, I'm going to be sending her something from the channel. If you are interested in combining our efforts and helping her to stay in a hotel, I have her PayPal. Just email me and just say I want to give something to help her while she's displaced with her kitties. So there you are, okay? And so I'm just gonna take 2 minutes, and we're just gonna kind of sit in silence, and you can decide how you spend that silence. We're just gonna kind of collectively send positive energy, prayers for firefighters, for the winds to die down, for there to be some kind of help and divine push for this to be put under control, and for anyone displaced, anyone that's struggling, anyone that is lost in despair because they have just lost everything, but for all of those things. So we're just going to take a couple minutes, okay? And you decide. You can decide if you want to do color over Southern California, or bring in water, or bring in whatever, love and light, whatever you want to bring in for that area. It's just a collective effort, and so we can cover it all, okay? So I'll go ahead and start that now, and I'll pick up in just a couple minutes, and we'll start, okay? Okay, thank you, everybody. I also want to, if you want to know how to navigate some of these heavier energies and some of the things coming in and what to do with yourself, because when you're in something, you're very, occupied, and you're in the thick of it, but when you're on the outside kind of looking in, it's a different experience. And so either way, in the second video that I did about 2025, the guys are talking all about this. So it's like we're told what's coming and how this is going to kind of be. And they did talk about groups of people leaving the planet again. It's not like the pandemic. It felt like little groups here, and anytime groups of people, we learned this from the guides, that anytime groups of people leaving, they're calling attention to something. And it's also a kind of a planned collective exit as well. And we don't have to go into, we don't know all the reasons why, because there can be personal soul reasons why, their own soul. This is my planned exit, and this is why for my soul, my personal soul group, but it's always too for the collective as well. And so, so it's calling attention, right? It's calling attention. It keeps calling attention. And this is going to be through the year. And they talked about finding your center and coming to that place where you're kind of connected with your being, your soul, that eternal part of yourself, because everything is transitory. Everything is fleeting. Everything is passing through, including us, right? Including us. Our animals are just passing through. Our stuff is just passing through. And we're getting that lesson big time with what's happening right now in Southern California. And I've been kind of we when we're on the outside looking in, we can kind of decide what kind of inner work we want to do to take on board what's happening. And I've really looked a lot at my own connection or disconnection. I don't have a big connection with things, with stuff, with a home, with what and my priorities. And they talked about that as well in that video, about how a lot of these things that will be happening in 2025 are going to make us reset our priorities. We'll have different priorities. Or it will give us an opportunity, right, to look at them. Because all of these things are an opportunity to change, an opportunity to shift things, an opportunity to look at things differently, to see things differently, to make changes, to get better leaders in there, to reflect what we really want. It's all an opportunity, and it's showing us something. It's showing us, it's holding up not just a mirror, but it's following through with cause and effect, right? In big ways and in little ways. We see it in our lives in little ways, and then on the collective, we see it in bigger ways. And even then, I don't know all of the reasons these things are happening, but those are just some of the things that we were told in advance. And I have to say, my predictions have been different. They're not as like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It's more of a overall how things are going to be going, and how to deal with them, how to look at it, how to see it, what to do. They're more instructive in a way. So, but I hope they help. And if you haven't seen them, I would say go listen to them, because it has a lot of information in there that I think will be helpful. Okay. All right. So thank you, everybody, so much for doing that. And let's get to your questions, because I'm sure there are a few. Okay. What did I just do? Okay. Comments. All right. Is there some sort of meaning to the fires in LA? Well, I think I preemptively answered that, but let's ask if there's more, if there's any more that the guides want to say about the fires in LA. I'm seeing like a courtroom. So there may be some portion of this that may end up in a hearing or in court. And this is not to lay blame or anything like that, but I know that it kind of feels like money. So it may be about insurance. And I feel like it's like for good, like it comes out to help people and to help things and to help us understand things a bit better, and also maybe to make things work better in the future, and rethinking how we do insurance and things like that, and how we take care of people. Okay, let me pick something else. So they're saying that, that's this plane. Let me start there. This plane is a plane of cause and effect. It's a plane of experience. It's a plane of a 3D existence. It doesn't discriminate. There are, as far as experience and experiences to go through. They're talking about we're going to hear a lot of stories about people completely changing their lives because they had to start again. And start over and start anew. There's a lot of fear and anxiety that Americans hold about because they're kind of bringing it as like an American thing rather than a California thing. It's kind of an American thing because they're talking about how, Americans really have a very unique, I think they're being kind, a unique relationship with things. And that this will be they're saying like a collective offering to observe and notice our relationship with things. And they're talking about a clinging. There's a clinging to it. That sometimes in some cases it's not healthy. It limits us, is what it does. It limits us. And when you're clinging to things, as we just said, it's all transitory, right? But clinging to anything that's here in the 3D it limits you because it makes you small, and it makes you distracts you from the bigger picture, which is the eternal soul, the eternal self, right? We're here having these experiences to grow spiritually. And it's almost like the opposite of that in a way, because clinging to anything here is kind of, it's the kind of the opposite of, it is the opposite of the eternal, right? It's the temporary, it's everything's temporary. And so, and they're saying too that kind of letting go of clinging to anything here is the part of the ascension process, part of the vibrational kind of raising in vibration process. And so there will be these things over and over again in little ways and big ways. I mean, in little ways, maybe we'll lose that heirloom that we've been, hanging on to forever, and suddenly we can't find it, or we lose a wedding ring, or we lose, it will be happening on the micro level and the macro level. They're also saying that any big event like this is to also help grow our compassion and to grow our ability to, or give us the opportunity to help each other, because that's really too what this is working towards as well. And what the higher vibration includes is cooperation and empathy, compassion, caring for each other. And they're saying too that there's a large group of people in the states that are resisting this. And it's not like this is happening for them to show them. It's not that. It's that these things, they're not only are they a kind of a natural cause and effect, but they're also teaching us lessons that our soul wants our egos to learn, to break that open, to come through. So they're showing people en masse kind of helping each other and coming together. And more, this is going to be obvious that it's not about party. It's not about, we're so split right now. It's not about the religious and the non-religious, or the Democrats and Republicans, it will become more and more apparent that we're just humans and we're trying to figure things out, and we're doing the best we can. And it's these really, really basic, and they keep saying it's an opportunity, it's an offering. It's happening because of cause and effect. It's happening because we're kind of skirting our responsibility as humans upon the earth, taking care of the earth. So but they're saying, but look at these things as an opportunity, and a side effect of these things will be these other things working together, gaining empathy, gaining compassion, gaining a different relationship with stuff, with things, particularly in the US, seeing that everything is transitory except the eternal part of this. All of these things, and just waking up to the fact of a spirit having a physical experience. Oh yeah, that's what is happening here. This stuff, it doesn't really mean what I think it does. So, and they're saying too that this, I don't, this is just an aside, I feel like, is that people on an individual level are going to be having more and more kind of spiritual experiences. How many NDEs we hear about all the time, so many from COVID, right? And we even talked about that during COVID, that was going to be one of the outcomes, is that we're going to see more and more about sharing these experiences. So people individually are going to be having these kind of experiences that they don't fully understand, and they'll start searching and they'll start understanding what's going on. So it'll be in different ways. But these are an opportunity for waking and a lot of other things. Okay. All right. Okay. Sandra, what is the best way to be able to hear our guides talking to us? I am clairvoyant, but I lack the ability to hear their voices. Okay. So, I'm gonna ask them, Sandra, but what I can tell you is something that we've talked about a lot actually on this channel, and that is that your guides are with you from the, before you're here, but when you're here, they're here with you all the time. Guides are not meant to be front and center and in your face. They're meant to be kind of in the background, right? And they work through your kind of your higher self. So anything that comes in feels like you, right? When it comes in internally, it feels like you. It comes in an inspirational thought or a flash of a friend, and you get the urge to call her and she has the answer for you. Or, it comes in those ways that are very internal. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. They don't care if you think it's you or if you think it's them. It makes no difference. The point they're here for is just to support us and to try to get us to remember why we're here so that we do the things we wanted to do when we're here. So kind of remind us and try to keep us on track. It's to help us to have the things, the experiences we like to have, and kind of guiding us in that direction. So that's what they're there for. Support team, but they're in the background. If they were just in our face with voices in our head and everything, we'd be so confused and we wouldn't, we're here to have this experience as this avatar or this person and in this experience, and they're helpers, but they're in the background. So that's how it comes through internally. And a lot of times when it's you're asking a question, it can be a little bit loud in a way, like loud in that it's not mistakable. Or another very I always know it's my guides when it keeps coming back to me. When it's something that I think of briefly and then it keeps coming back and keeps coming back, that I know is always my guides. An idea or a way to change, like for this, like especially like a way to change the channel or to not do so much politics and move into a different area because people are going to need this. And there's tons of people doing politics now. You don't need to do that. You can move into this area where there's going to be more people needing this and blah, blah, blah. So that when it keeps coming back and keeps coming back, and you don't have to listen. That's part of the being, having free will. You can listen or you cannot listen. And there's plenty of times I don't listen. I can hear it clearly and I don't listen, it's our experience here. So we can decide, but they're there. That's what they're there for. And I would say that if you're clairvoyant, that's how the information will probably come through for you. Now, they can also bring, if you're not hearing them or you're not getting it, or it's muddied because you're so worried or so anxious about something, they will use other ways to get messages in. And so once you've asked a question or once you're looking for guidance for what do I do next or what's my purpose or whatever, be alert to the world around you. Be as present as you can, as often as you can. Be in the moment, because what will happen is they will send messages through other people. And a lot of times, I'll be thinking about something, and Adam will say something that's like, that's it, or that's the thing, out of nowhere. And he won't even know why he said it, right? So they use other people that maybe aren't as muddied or blocked for the moment. They'll use other people. They'll use a billboard, or they'll use the radio, or they'll use, an ad that keeps popping up that has specific words that you keep zeroing in on. It will come in another way. So the main thing is to be alert. Okay. Let me just go in and ask them. So they're also reminding us that it's like opening up is the type of focus. And so being present and the idea of being open, like opening up, even use any kind of visual you want. I'm like a flower. I'm like, I use your hands, or whatever you need to sort of move into the idea that I'm opening up to connect. And then be in that as long as you can. Not everybody has all the time in the world, but even a couple of minutes. And then know that once you have done that, and once you have made the request, and once you have opened up the best that you can, the answer will come. They're saying one of the biggest blocks, or I don't want to say mistakes, but it's one of the biggest kind of errors, I guess, or I'm not sure whatever I can use. They don't want me to use the word like mistakes, but the misunderstandings maybe, is that when you ask a question, like if you're in meditation and you ask a question of your guide, sometimes it will come through right then. Sometimes it will, but sometimes it won't. And so they're wanting you to kind of understand that the most important thing is just that moment of opening up, because that's what kind of invites in your guides to be more involved and more present, more obvious, right? So they're saying that's the most important. And then being alert, because you need that alertness to realize that, oh, the answer is coming. It didn't come in this session. It didn't come right away, but it's coming. So I just need to be alert to it. A lot of times, and they've said this before, that a lot of people will meditate or open up and ask a question, and when it's not answered in that session, or when they're done meditating, they just give up and go back to their life. And in the meantime, they're trying to get the answer to you, because maybe it's time to receive the answer. Maybe it wasn't time. Keep in mind too, Sandra, that sometimes our guides want us to rest, to be at rest, to be sort of just refueling, so there'll be a silence or a quiet. And when I get that, I usually know that some sort of boost in my abilities is about to happen, or some kind of awakening of some kind, or some kind of new concept or information is going to be coming in. I always know that it's like a preparatory period. And so know that if that happens as well, to just take that as kind of like, okay, I need to just rest, and not be, trying to get information or trying to grow my abilities, or to kind of give that a rest, just to let yourself kind of just be. Okay. So I know it's a really long answer, but sorry about that. Oh, carrot of a cat. Can you tell me if he's okay? Karen, yeah. I usually don't do like missing pets and missing, every once in a while I will, but let me just see if he's okay. Okay. I feel like you're not the only one keeping care of this cat. I feel like there's but there's a kind of feeling of like moving around and kind of changing, like changing ownership in a way. So I feel like he'll return. I feel like he's okay. So I feel like he'll return, maybe in a day or two, but I feel like he'll come back. I feel like you're not the only person. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Just, and also, use your telepathy. Use your telepathy, and almost pick up on it. Because there's so many times when I have, there's a cat that we take care of that kind of comes and goes, and we have a crazy cat lady now. We have like a shelter with a little mat that I plug in, and it stays warm for them, so they can be in a little warm house, the little strays that want to. And this one little stray, it was freezing cold, and he was, and I've done this to him more than once, but he was eating, and then he always like leaves and goes over the wall, and I would start sending him the message to go into the house, go into the house, go into the house, go into the house. And he would get like halfway up and come back and go into the house. So it's either his, but I do think that they can feel or pick up on your telepathy. It's how we communicate in the spirit realm. And, animals are very in tune. So especially cats, I've found out they're very in tune with things like that. So send him a message to tell him to come home or to come back or to come eat or whatever. Start sending him messages and you'll probably see him return sooner. Okay. Okay, Cynthia, how do we build tolerance and patience for this timeline? Okay, good question. So they're talking about it not being like a zero-sum game. I heard zero-sum. It's not a zero-sum game. And they're saying it's very difficult to on the earth, we see everything in earthly terms. We have a very kind of limited way and scope of kind of understanding and seeing things, but they're kind of like, they're pushing me over here. And they're kind of like, remember this, that it sort of begins and ends with you. You are the like the director, or they're showing like a symphony, like you're the symphony director, you're the conductor of your own world. You have people in it, you've got things you're doing, things you've got your things you're thinking, things you're saying, and think of you as having like your own little world. And that's the world that you have complete kind of say over. And so they're saying, start there. It's almost as if they're kind of like, everybody else is kind of, yes, it affects us. And yes, clearly we're affected, right? We're living through this, all this stuff with, who and all this stuff, but they're kind of like their story or their world. It's almost like it's not really any of our business. That's their thing. And they also make choices and decisions and things like that. And they will suffer the consequences, good or positive or negative, of those choices. Yours, like Cynthia, for me, Kim, we have our own whole universe here. We have the physical body and the brain, what we think, what we say, what we feel, what we do with all of that. And then we have all of the people that we affect on a daily basis, our family, our pets, our people at the grocery store, keeping in touch with other family, reaching out to people. We have a whole world unto ourselves. And they're kind of like, concentrate and make your world as beautiful, as peaceful, as contented, as loving, as compassionate as possible. And that way, everything that touches your world will have that sort of experience. We cannot control anyone else. Can't. But what they want you to know is that a lot of the situations that will be unfolding because of the choices and because of the way things were done, and because there will be a lot of awakening. There'll be a lot of waking up from a dream for a lot of people that have been in these very kind of just stuck in these kind of lower vibrational places, because of the stuff they watch and the people they surround themselves with, right? Their world is kind of being kept in this. They're giving me chills right now, so I'm getting it right. So that's good. Their world is this place, but when you build a world like that, you suffer the consequences of it. It shows you what your world is, right? And sometimes people can get mired in that, so they have these sweeping opportunities, like a COVID, or like a natural disaster, or a death in the family, or a whatever. They have these sweeping opportunities to wake up and to see things differently. And they're saying that is happening. It is happening. They're kind of like, it's set in motion. It is happening. But in the meantime, they're in their world, building their world, and they'll have the consequences, good and bad, of that world created. You, Cynthia, have a whole world that you are responsible for, right? And I do too. And so they're saying, put all of the concentration in that, so that we aren't distracted by what he's doing and what he's doing. It's always right here. And it's because it is that ripple effect. It's like they're showing like a rock in a pond and how it ripples out. And they're just saying that's what this is. We're that rock, or we're actually the pond, I guess. And our little, our avatar is that rock, and it ripples out and it affects kind of everything. In ways we can see. They just said seen and unseen. So we've seen ways, like we helped a person and they're happy now, but it's unseen ways as well. Ways we don't even know, how our behavior, what we say, what we do, how we feel, what we think, it affects our world, a collective world, in ways seen and unseen. Okay, so hopefully that gives you, because we're always, when we see what's happening, and we only have so much control and so much say, especially when it comes to things like government. Like, we send our representative, right? And we want them to do the right. That's the process, right? And so we can only do so much. And once that's done, that's it. We're kind of just, we're waiting, or we're whatever. But they're saying this is the world to concentrate on, to care about, and to get to a wonderful place, so that it has that ripple effect. And it's working. People are doing this, Cynthia. They're making me feel like this is happening. And depending on where you're looking, or what you're focusing in on, is how you're going to pick that up, or see that actually as like, this is what's happening. If you're kind of watching a lot of really, the news can be so negative, and if you're kind of like around, then it will seem like this is not working. Nobody's listening. Nobody's waking up. Nobody, the ascension's not possible. But if you're looking in the right places, you'll see it. And this community, we see it, right? We see it all the time. Miracles, and people coming together, and people being, collectively praying for other people, and people collectively helping other people. So, yeah. Okay. So I hope that helps. Okay. This is a good question. How can readers hear different outcomes for the same things? Is it the spirit guides who are wrong or the reader's interpretation? Okay, I was just asking about this, so I know the answer. Well, I know the answer that my guides give me. What is happening, or what can happen? So they're saying it like they said, like it was twofold. It can be the interpretation. It definitely can, because when things come in, they come in like puzzle pieces to a puzzle. Sometimes it can be really clear, and other times it can be like, well, it could mean this or this. And I do this a lot with you see this a lot with the when I do club readings, because those are mini readings for individuals, and I don't know exactly like the person's past or what their whole family or whatever. So a lot of times I'll say, well, I'm seeing this and whatever. I'm seeing a firecracker. So either it means there's some kind of explosion in the family, or it could be explosion at work, or maybe explosion at whatever. You have to kind of place the where this is, or the context for this. And the same thing can happen for readers with bigger things. I've had so many examples, and I never back away from getting something wrong or because it usually is stuff like that. And I always want to improve. I always want to get better. And so I share it. I share it as like, this was a learning experience for me. I'll give you an example. This is a really good example, I think. When that Iranian president was killed, I was getting that there was going to be a famous person or a known person killed in a what looked to me like it was like a plane crash, right? Oh no, I was seeing a little plane crash. That was it. I was seeing a little plane crash, like a personal plane crash. And then I felt like somebody was going to be on board that was like known or of importance or something like that. Like people, they had responsibility, or they were, people knew of them. And then I was seeing Kobe Bryant. And that I thought, oh, it's going to be like a celebrity or like a sports person. But no, what they were trying to tell me was, it's not a plane, it's a helicopter, right? That's what they were trying to tell me, because Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash. So that's how it can get kind of like misinterpreted and until I heard the news, I didn't know. And then when I heard, oh, it was a helicopter. Oh, that's what they were trying to show. It was a helicopter. So in the future, if they show me him, I'll think helicopter rather than famous athlete, right? But that's just how they were trying to get the information across, and as we interpret and as we build our vocabulary with our guides, our things get better. You get better at it. But this is why you'll never be 100%, because you're human. You're a human being having a human experience. And I also think there's something to do with humility, because I feel like there are readers that can get a little bit, So I think it's also sometimes a humbling, or we should take it that way, is kind of, stay humble about what you do. It's not about you. It's about the message. It's not about you. It's about the collective, right? And I think some people can get lost in that because we have a human ego, But the other thing, though, that they said was that right now, especially, there are lots of different, like, vibrational frequencies and a lot of, let's say timelines. I don't think that's right. So they're kind of showing like 3D, 4D, 5D. So you can, depending on where you are, even in that day, feeling more 3D or feeling more, maybe you have a little more fear than you normally do, and you're trying to read. And so you might get a more 3D prediction, and they're also saying too that things can change. People can change what is being shown. Events, things are fluid. Some events are kind of set in stone, or they're kind of agreed to. Or if we get to a certain point, this event is going to happen. Or if we haven't gotten to a certain point yet, this event is going to happen. So it's very complex. It's not, I don't feel like there's one answer. I feel like it could be any or all of those things. I always am so heartened when we do all get the same thing, but then we saw with the election, right? That it was like, this is where this is going. And then it's like, it was derailed by human intervention. There was something that happened, free will, and this came in, and that's that, and that's why too, I think that as I grow, that they're not so much wanting me to do that kind of prediction. I feel like they're wanting me to more talk about the energy and kind of where we're going to be at and how to deal with it, how to deal with what's coming rather than the thing that's coming. I think too that you don't want to put people into fear. And if everybody starts saying there's going to be a new pandemic, it puts people in that fear mode. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I think it can be for some people. It gives them a head up, and let me make sure I've got my batteries, and let me make sure some people will move into that very practical, but some people will melt down because they had a horrible experience during the pandemic and they don't want so which is one thing people keep asking, is there going to be another pandemic? And I feel like when I have looked at it, let me just say this about that. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say about it. When I have looked at it, it's like, it's not the same as COVID. And I felt like there would be certain areas or places that are locked down for a short time to give the hospitals a rest. That's what I saw. So, and I don't even know if it's like every city, it doesn't feel like it's like everybody, like it was before. It feels like different parts of the world where there's a little, and it does not feel like COVID. It does not feel like that, but it does feel like another type of illness that is, and it doesn't feel as deadly either. It just feels like it overruns the hospitals. It makes it too difficult for the hospitals. I'm sorry, hospital workers, but like I said, it does not feel like everywhere. And it also is one of those things where we learned last time, right? Go to that center. Who do I listen to? Who do I trust? What's going on? How do I, go in there, because you have the answers in there. Your spirit, your being always aligns with truth, right? And it's always aligns with it always aligns with you're keeping you okay, keeping you knowing, that wisdom. It gives you wisdom to know what to do or how to respond. So that's why they keep saying, keep going to that place every day, even if it's a few deep breaths. Just keep going there every day, because when something does happen, it will come up. It will be, you'll already kind of have solidified that connection. It will come in. Okay. But they keep saying that. And one of the things that they said about 2025 was that a lot of it is going to be still more stuff coming out into the open, shocking things coming out into the open about, people and systems and things, and truths coming out. And we're going to have to go to our inner self. I feel like there'll be points where we're not really sure who rely on. And now it makes more sense because of who's going to be in charge. So, but it's like kind of like, do I believe this? Do I believe this? And they're saying, go to center. You'll have the answer. You'll know. Just like COVID, right? How many times did we hear anti-masker dies of COVID? Anti-masker, or a massive outbreak because anti-maskers went to a concert where you know who to listen to. And we could look up there and say, do I listen to that guy who's dealt with pandemics his whole life or this guy who is insane? And for some people it wasn't a, I don't know what to believe. What do I believe? And so, and this is not to blame the victim, it's to show that when you're kind of aligned, something tells you this is the way to go. And so, yeah. And so that's kind of how we figure it out for ourselves. And more, they're kind of like, don't listen to this person. Don't listen to this person, because I feel like even readers, it's going to be hard to know, who do I listen to? Because I love this person and this person, they're saying opposite things. And they're saying that's part of it, is that it's going to be a little more murky. And depending on where they are, what they're aligning with. So, and things can change, right? So going inside into your own being and sitting with that and feeling it. And, okay, I know, okay, what do I feel? What do I feel? Well, I feel like it's this, you'll have the truth. It's in here. It's not out here. And I feel like more and more they're trying to get us to understand what Jesus said, what Buddha said, what we keep hearing is the truth is within. It's not out here. I feel like right now you can listen to certain people because you resonate with that person, right? You're on the same wavelength. But this is going to be a really crazy year and very tumultuous, and a lot of, shock, and a lot of, oh my gosh, what's happening? And they're saying it's in here. Link in, connect in. And you will know that you'll feel that calm. You'll feel that peace that passes all understanding. How am I calm when all of this is going on? But you are always responsible for this inner state. And the inner state has nothing to do with what's going on out here. You can be at peace. And this is why they showed a lot of readers when the whole election was going down, and you think I should be freaking out, but I feel peaceful. I feel like it's going to be okay. I feel calm about this. I feel like there's a reason it's unfolding like this. And that even though maybe this wasn't the planned thing, it's going to be used for good. And that's when they started to say, like, there were two ways to go: the soft, easy path, a little longer, or the walking through broken glass, but it's shorter. And this is what, because of people's free will and this is the path. But it's going to be okay, right? I could feel it. And I know, as several people said, that's happened to me. I've had this calm come over me that I could not understand. And they said one of the reasons that happened to people was to show them out here does not have to affect in here. You're in charge. And not only that, you're connected. This is where you're connected to the spirit realm, to that eternal self, that big self, not the little me, the big I am, right? That's where it is. Sorry for these really long answers, but I feel like they're just telling me what to say. And something in it is what people need to hear right now. So I just kind of follow. At this point, I'm like, nah, I just follow it. I don't ask a lot of questions anymore. Well, people can put things in the chat, Denise. I would say Carl Jung would be one, Jung. He's the one that came up with shadow work. That's his term. So I would say start there. I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube about shadow work. I know there's uh, put it into Amazon and read the reviews, and but there's lots of ways to go about shadow work. But he's kind of the godfather of it, so you might start there with what he said about it, what his take on is. But other people might have other authors that they can recommend. Yeah. You also might look up things about the dark night of the soul too, because that has a lot that can bring in the opportunity for shadow work. So you might look that up as well. Okay. And I love all these prayers. And let me tell you something too about the community page. And you just go to the community page, you hit the little icon, and I put there people that need prayers for different reasons. And what I have learned from my guides is that each prayer, when it's written like that, like this, because I'm getting chills as I'm reading these prayers, they have energy. They have an energy. When you read them, you're pulling in that, and you're actually pulling in an energy to you. And so I always encourage people when they ask for prayers to go to the community page and read them, because you will start feeling that energy coming to you, and just in a stronger way. And but they do carry energy. And I always tell people too that if you're estranged from someone, or you're wanting to connect with someone in a deeper way, send them a letter, because the fact that it's handwritten, that you've held it, that it has a stronger connection to your energy and to what you want to be sending it. I always, if I'm sending something like that, I always kind of hold my cards, like I'll hold it in my hand and I'll say a prayer. It's to send along an energy with them. And so often I'll get people that will say, like, as soon as I opened this up, I was so calm, or I had such peace come over me. I know these are going to be great cards. So that's how powerful it can be. And I think that we feel so small, we feel so little, because it's a huge world and we're just this tiny thing. And we're separate, and we feel so separate and can feel so alone. But the truth is, we are so powerful. When we work on our energy, when we work in meditation, when we do that work, it is really like you light up, and people can feel it. They may not be able to name it always, but they feel it. They feel that energy. So just know that it is like you're making your light brighter, and that it does something. And remember that you are a powerful, multi-dimensional spirit, and you're eternal. There's nothing that can hurt you. The real you, here we can get hurt, we can get sick, we can get, so we feel so vulnerable. But linking into that bigger I is so important right now, because the more stuff happens, the smaller you feel as a person. You feel like, I can't do anything. But the more you link into that, the more like you're like, I've got this. We have got this. The fear in the 3D wants you to feel small, right? And we've seen that at work with some of the political stuff, wanting you to feel helpless, wanting you to feel small, wanting you to feel like you have no power. And the opposite is true. We have all the power. And when we come together, we have all the power, right? But that the individual has all the power. They just need to remember, you're the big I. You're not the little me, right? We're learning about this in our new Earth class. So this is all, linked in. And okay. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there, you guys. I'm sorry to get to so many questions. Okay, and so Kelly, it's exactly what we were just talking about. It's exactly what we were just talking about. The answers are here. And so connect in. When this happened, I felt a really strong need for us to go over our earthquake, stuff. So there could be that coming for Northern California, but it's not to make you fearful. It's to make you prepare. So whatever's in your area, Callie, I've said this before, but I'll repeat it, because I think you're bringing it up for a reason. People need to hear this. Whatever's in your area, go over your plan. We always have earthquakes and fires. That's our thing. So we have, go bags for fires. I know what I would take. It's not much because, like I said, I'm not really, and that's something I've worked on because of the fires. I started doing that work a long time ago, getting rid of my connection to stuff. Realize that either it's leaving me or I'm going to leave it. Take it with you. It's all here, and I appreciate it, and I thank my things, and I don't get attached to them, right? But I thank them, for what they give me now. That's it. But protecting you and your families, what is in your area, right? Do you have, bad snowstorms regularly? Well, making sure you have your batteries and you have food and you have water and you have toilet paper. My husband's always restocking toilet paper since the pandemic, but just going over that stuff and making sure, okay, we're good. I have all this stuff. It's going to be fine. But and then linking in all the time so that you feel like, I feel like something may be coming. I'm going to make sure we definitely have, gas in the car or whatever, and not in a paranoid way, but just in a sort of just being prepared, right? And then in the moment, making sure your phone's hooked up to different emergency stuff that will let different things, or how to connect in to find out where we go to different shelters or whatever. That's it, right? We can't know everything all the time. It's this, and this is the experience we signed up for, right? But the things we do know how to prepare for those things. And then if they're upon you, listen to the experts, listen to what they're saying. If they tell you to evacuate, evacuate. If they're right? Because a lot of times, we talked about this in, I think it's the second 2025 predictions video about the storm, right? And we have those people that think it's a good idea to go under a tree during an electrical, during an electrical storm. So just making yourself aware of what's a good idea and what's not such a good idea, yeah. So that's it. And then, have trust that if you're linked in to your inner voice, that inner place, have faith. You'll be safe. It's good. You'll know what to do. The time will come and you will know what to do. I can't tell you how many times we've been in this weird position or a perilous position or something's happened, and I know exactly what to do. And it's because my guys are there. And what usually when something shocking happens or something happens, you get very now. You come into the now and you're very centered, and that's where they speak to you. So just opening that door every day, and connecting in, keep making sure that door is open and stays open. So Janice, the only thing that I want to prepare people for, and again, it's not to put people in fear, because we do not need to be afraid, okay? is that I feel like as soon as if the, inauguration comes, and as soon as that flip happens, there's going to be a lot of shock. I feel like there's a few things that are kind of shocking, but just know it's a tactic to make us feel powerless. We are not powerless. We aren't. It's to make us feel a certain way. It's a bully tactic, right? It's a bully tactic. And we know that bullies always move from fear, from, they move and operate from a place of fear. So a lot of times what they do, and we're saying like bullies as leaders or bullies as whatever, that what they do may work for a time, but it's always destined to fail because it comes from that very, very low vibration fear place. And usually working on behalf of very low vibrational things, getting more money, trying to get power, these very earthly things that it may take time, but they're all destined to fail. So keeping that in mind as well. And this particularly is destined to sort of, to me, it almost feels like, well, go back and listen to, again, I think it's the second 2025, where I talk about the fighting, and then stopping. And over here, there's kind of this enlightened being sitting there in silence. And then every time they fight, and stop, somebody else walks over and sits with the enlightened being. I feel like there's going to be just tons of infighting. And that not a lot is going to get done. Not a lot's going to go through. Stuff will be forced through, but again, it's destined to fail. A lot of, people, and it's not really people that are sort of on the outside looking in, right? It's inside of this particular kind of people and party and people that are kind of mixed up in this. It's a clashing. And when it finally ends, it feels like it's not the same. Everything has changed. So we're going to see some big stuff happen, but I feel like so much of it will be witnessed to. We're not really in that, like in the thick of it. It feels like we're on the outside looking in. And so a lot of it will be witnessed to. And so the most I think we'll feel is kind of helpless at times, like we can't help, or we're helpless. But once again, making sure the world you're responsible for is in excellent operating order and linked in so that you know exactly how you can help, or what you can do. Okay? So I hope this helps you guys. And once again, if you want to help our community member that needs to be displaced for a week and needs some help, write to me, email me, and I will give you the PayPal for that. I don't want to put it out here just in case. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but do that. And then, and I think I have just a few of the 30-minute recorded readings left. There are psychic readings that are 30 minutes, and they come in a recording. You send me your questions and I send you back a recording. I think I have a few of those left. I think they're in June. So I usually do just like 6 months out because my guys always shift and change things for me. So, and I know that now, so I don't plan too far ahead. I don't plan like a year ahead, but 6 or 7 months. I think I went into like the first week of July, and that's it. So, and then things may change. I may be doing something different. So if you want one of those, I think there are just a few left. You could check that out. The New Earth class is starting in February. If you want to do that, that's just an energy exchange, just a small donation to the channel. Suggested $25. It does not have to be that. It's just an energy exchange. So don't let that, hold you up. That's starting February. And yeah, Intuitiview.com has everything. So there's links in the description as well. All right, so let me pull a card for us. I'm going to use my deck. I always pull an intention card, what our intention should be, and this may tell us something about where we're going. And the cards look like this. They're all black and white. So let me go ahead and pull a card out. I'm going to pull two for some reason. So let me do that. Okay. And they all have a prayer of an intention on the back. So I'm going to read the prayer. Most of them I don't remember ever writing. So it's very much a channeled deck. Okay, this one has the lighthouse, and it is personal power. What were we just talking about? These cards are crazy. Okay, today my prayer of intention is to recognize, and it could be this week, this month, whatever you want to do. Today, my prayer of intention is to recognize and exercise my personal power. May I use my personal power today in harmony with each choice I make. We're talking about intentional choice, conscious choice, right? Conscious choosing. The second one is this one. It has glasses, just like mine, on a beach. And it is clarity. Number 10. It was number 4 and number 10 if you do numerology. Today, my prayer of intention is to have clarity and certainty in my thoughts, in my decisions, and each action I take. Okay? So those are our marching orders, at least for this week. And I will see you guys next week. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye.